What's going on, guys? It's Rich Lux, and you know the drama is hot when I have to do a voiceover. Well, James Charles finally, and I mean finally, uploaded a video response to Tati Westbrook. And in the video, he's dissecting and breaking down his side of the story. He mentions Jeffree Star, Nikita Dragon, Tati Westbrook. He talks about Sugar Bear Hair. He basically called the video No More Lies. Which I was like, well, were you lying in the beginning? Anyway, this is not a hate video or anything like that. This is just, let's watch his video, and we'll talk about it in the comments down below. This video is going to be extremely long, but I want it to be as detailed as possible. I basically took out the best parts of the video and put it in there along with a lot of my commentary. This is probably the longest video I've ever uploaded. I just want to say, for those of you who just want to like speed through the video, then there are certain parts of the video that he shot twice. So he did one part in makeup and one part without makeup. I found that with makeup he was more direct and more angry in some parts, and then without makeup he just seemed more open and honest, which I kind of felt like he should have just shot the video without makeup and just talked all the way through. I think that he references Jeffree Star a lot in the video, but if you remember yesterday, Jeffree Star made a very long Snapchat rant saying that he was very hot-headed and maybe might have spoken out of turn. And I think that this is a pattern that we've seen with a lot of people. When you get angry or you get upset or you get hot-headed, you tend to say things you don't mean. And I think that James tried to call Jeffree out. He tried to call Tati Westbrook out in those situations when he really shouldn't have been so on the defensive and tried to just like squash the beef, squash the drama. In a way, he tried to do that in this video, but it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, if you'll see it. But I watched the video, so you don't have to, so I'm going to give a lot of commentary on it. I do think that it was a video that could have been shot a lot better, because it was just a bit, I don't know, there was something about it that just didn't sit well with me. And I think that he was throwing digs and punches that really didn't need to be. So yeah, I mean, you can't fight fire with fire. You know what I'm saying? If someone's upset with you or they're hot-headed with you and they're saying things, you shouldn't then try to make a point to like do a jab or something like that. But anyways, let's watch the video. And as always, leave your comments down below. Here we go.
Have weighed in with their opinions and speculations on subjects that they honestly know absolutely nothing about. I will not ask for sympathy, and I will definitely not ask for forgiveness either, but I will ask that you watch this entire thing all the way through before forming any further opinions or talking about this story more. First and foremost, I do want to issue a thank you to both Jeffree and Tati for taking some of the responsibility for blowing this whole thing up and for starting everything. I really respect that a lot, and I also appreciate the fact that they are trying to redirect the hate away, because I think we're all aware at this point that it has gotten way too far. The past week on the internet has been the darkest I think we've all ever seen, and it's also been the darkest time that I've ever had to go through in my life, and my thoughts got to a really scary place. Watching Tati's video, it's clear to me that she also is in a really dark place as well, and has been pained by this whole situation. If I've known anything about Tati over the past 3 years, it's that she has a huge, huge heart. There's no denying that, and I think that, or I do believe her when she says that she did not want this to get so vile. I don't really think any of us thought it was going to be as big as it really was. The situation was definitely not a big scheme that was orchestrated beforehand. It really did happen on the spot. The Sugar Bear Hair team texted me the proposal right away. No money was involved, and with no time to negotiate, in a panic, I signed, and that was that on it, which was one day after Coachella. I was due to post my stories based on my contract, and up until that moment I honestly had not thought about the fact that Tati was a Sugar Bear Hair competitor, and in that moment I thought that as a friend she deserved a courtesy text to let her know the context of the sponsorship and everything that was going on. Before posting my stories, I actually did text Tati first out of respect for her, giving her heads up about the sponsorship, but she was immediately upset. I tried my best to kind of explain the entire situation and also give her a direct apology as well, but at this point I had signed the contract and I absolutely had to post it. There was no getting out of it. I then headed to the airport and took off on a flight to San Francisco, and by the time that I had landed 1 hour later, Tati had uploaded all of her Instagram stories of her crying, talking about the friends in the community that haven't really supported her, how she was alone, and how she felt very, very hurt and betrayed. Very quickly, people put two and two together and realized that this was clearly about me, and I started getting thousands and thousands of tweets and comments and texts about the whole situation. Throughout the next several hours, I made countless attempts to text both Tati and her husband James, and many phone calls as well, trying to reach them, all of which they did not respond to. And later on that night, while sitting in my hotel in San Francisco, because I could not reach Tati, I issued a public apology directly on my Instagram because I really wanted to make sure she saw that I was sorry, and I wanted to end the situation by taking full responsibility for my actions. Over the next several days, I made countless attempts to contact both Tati and her husband James on all their different phone numbers. I texted and called Tati's business number, her family number, and also James's personal phone number as well. After a full entire week of trying to reach out and handle things in private with Tati and her husband James and getting no response, I figured at this time it'd be best to just respect their space, give them their privacy, and that whenever Tati was ready, she would reach back out to me to handle things in private and hopefully move on with our friendship. That is everything in regards to the Instagram stories. Now that we've talked about that, I want to discuss a few of the things in Tati's video that were misleading and false.
So I just kind of feel like James, honestly, like he just admitted he made that mistake of signing up with Sugar Bear Hair and didn't think that this was a competitor for Tati. I think that he just was being, in my, and I'm not trying, I'm not trying to be shady, but I just kind of felt like in that moment he just wasn't thinking of other people's feelings. I think that he was being in a way kind of selfish, just thinking about himself and getting this artist pass and stuff like that. I just kind of feel like he should have. I don't know how to explain it to you. He should have just been more aware. What people always say, with power comes great responsibility. So I just maybe feel like he did hurt Tati's feelings, and even though he did try to reach out to her and try to make it better, I think Tati was just so upset about the whole situation that she just didn't want to speak to him in that moment. And I think he was kind of being a little shady. Like, he was in the video, he kind of came across like I reached out to her and she didn't want to respond, so she kind of wanted drama. I mean, that's just how it came off to me. But, there are, what do you call that? Consequences to your actions, if that makes sense. So, was it warranted toward him? I guess in a way it was, because it did hurt her feelings. But I think maybe next time moving forward, he should just be more aware of other people's feelings.
Now, this time was just confusing to me, mostly because this conversation never actually happened. If you guys know my channel, you would know that I don't really do dedicated product reviews ever, which is what Tati is known for. But even though that is the case, I've still multiple times talked about her products on all my social media networks. I have to word that, okay, I forgot to say too. Hello. I'm going to a really important event later on tonight. My best friend.
We are going to a very important event.
Yes, this is true. And this is a very important launch to me because it is my best friend Tati. She's launching something new on Halo Beauty. Super proud of her. By the time this video is out, it'll already be up. So go check it out. Promo for Tati. Love you the most.
Who doesn't need a little beauty boost every now and then? Two of the following statements are real claims made by the original Halo Beauty Booster supplement.
Oh!
Which are the real ones?
Can I just say I love you guys for putting a Halo question in there.
We originally
I love you for that.
I just received my package from Halo Beauty. This is Tati's brand new brand. I did not tell Tati that I was buying these, but I did pay for these myself because I just wanted to support her, and I'm so happy. I know she's getting a lot of backlash on this, which is making me so mad because I know she's worked so hard on these for the past several years now. Congratulations, Tati. I love you literally so much, and I'm very, very proud of you and all your hard work.
So what's going on is that James was proving that he was being a supportive friend, that he was purchasing her pills at a very dark time, because I remember this time when Tati came out with her first pink pills with Halo Beauty. She got so much hate. It was so much drama, and people were accusing her of all these things, and it finally just blew over because it was just a lot of people who were upset with the ingredients in the pills. And honestly, if you don't like a certain ingredient in a pill, just don't buy it. But she received a lot of backlash from it, and in a way, he kind of helped Tati pull out of that by supporting her and promoting it. But I don't know, let's continue with the drama.
I do want to keep this video strictly based on facts and receipts, but one of the most hurtful things Tati did in her video was bring up my mom and question her parenting. No tears this time. My mom is the strongest woman I have ever met. She is kind, she is creative, and she is caring. She is a cancer survivor, and she balances a marriage, a full-time job, and raising 2 boys with absolutely crazy lives. She's taught me so much in the past, and when I've made a mistake, she has never turned to public humiliation as a form of punishment. All that being said, I love my mom, and I think she's doing a damn good job.
This is where I disagree. I think that James Charles' mom needs to be with him. I see it in the comments so much to the point where it's like, yeah, let's talk about it. So many people in the comments are saying, James Charles, you should be with your mom. She needs to be here in LA with you. They dropped you off in LA and you're running rampant. And that's what people are saying in the comments. And I think that James is such a young kid that he should have his like maternal mother in the area because he's so young. I know I'll probably get a lot of hate for that, but that's just my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. I feel like he is a really young kid, and I think he should have his mother around. I think he has a lot of people around him, like other people have stated, that are just yes, 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 blowing up his head. I do think he needs to have some real family with him in the area, because it just comes across like they just dropped him off at Laura's house or something like that, you know?
First of all, I'm a 19-year-old virgin.
I don't believe that James Charles is a virgin. The house. I just don't. But that's just how I feel. I think that the way he did this entire video, where he played her clips and then spoke, played her clips and then spoke, and then he was like talking very fast. I don't know. It seemed like he was kind of upset. It seemed like sometimes in the video he was throwing a little shade, but that's just what I got from it. I just kind of feel like, I guess the video that I think people were expecting was for him to just talk, you know, and own things. It seemed a little bit on the defensive, but also it seemed very positive and uplifting at the same time. It was a very interesting video. What do you think?
I talk about boys quite a lot on my social media networks. Clearly at this point, it is not acceptable anymore. We're talking about that in a little bit, I promise you. But just thought I would bring it up, put it out into the universe. I don't really get a lot of action. We have probably guessed this at this point. So that being said, I have never and would never and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy. That is disgusting. It is not me. And the fact that Tati brought this up blows my mind because she knows the real story.
That's one thing that I will agree with. That's the only thing really I felt Tati's flaw was in her video initially. You know, she did talk about James and the whole pill situation and how she was hurt. And I stated before that I felt like she should have left it just at that part, like not really go into the whole boys and texting and the waiters and stuff like that. I think that part she could have left out because that kind of made the whole entire scandal more juicy for everybody. Do I agree with her making a video? Yeah, you know, she's a woman. She felt a certain type of way. She wanted to air it out. And she wanted to prove, you know, James a lesson, to pop his bubble, to bring it down a couple notches, you know, to be, like, just more real. So, yeah, but I never really agreed with that one little part in Tati's video where she started going into, you know, the straight boys and stuff like that. I think she should have talked about everything else, but she could have left that one out. But, yeah.
The story that we're talking about here is a situation that happened when I was in Seattle for Tati's surprise party with a boy named Sam. Now, I'm going to tell you the full story since everybody seems to be leaving out literally every single detail. In Tati's video, she mentioned that she was disgusted and had to apologize to her family for me apparently saying things that I wanted to do to a waiter and then justifying those actions by saying I am a celebrity. Okay, this literally did not happen.
So at this point, he's calling Tati Westbrook a liar, which he pointed out in the video, and then he's talking about it. This is the issue with these types of videos where he played her clip, respond, played her clip, respond. I think that he should just, because like by him doing this, what if Tati's like, no, it did happen this way, and then she makes a fourth video with more receipts, and it's just never going to end. So that's the only part Here anyways, it's a mess.
What did happen is that me, Jeffrey, Nate, and my best friend Drew all flew to Seattle to surprise Tati for her birthday on February 14th. That night, we went out to dinner with Tati and James and her whole family, and we're in a restaurant. There was a cute boy across the restaurant that I kept making eye contact with and that I was interested in. And the conversation of dating for me and Jeffrey both came up at the dinner table, and we were talking about it for a very, very short period of time. The conversation never got inappropriate. Period. The boy that was involved with the story is named Sam. Now, when I originally wanted to do this video addressing everything, I did plan on crossing his name and keeping him completely private, but he has since come out and made a video of his own talking about the situation, just like Tati, leaving out many, many details. But in his video and in the screenshots that I have, Sam mentioned that he was perfectly fine and found the flirting that I was doing flattering. So I'm not really sure why this got turned into something much bigger, but it simply was not.
And he was looking at me. Later on that night, he started talking to the other employees about me, asking me if I had a Valentine. This was on Valentine's Day, where he especially thought that I was very attractive and he wanted to get my phone number and all that. But the wait staff at my restaurant didn't let that happen. He left and it kind of just went untalked about.
The I'm a celebrity thing is really incredibly frustrating to me because this is an inside joke between my friends and I that Tati has also participated in, and she twisted this to be something far worse than what it is. This is the joke that really is where we say I'm famous, not I'm a celebrity, and it's something that we don't say in public very often because without context, I get it, it looks and sounds really, really bad, trust me. Literally, famous is synonymous with anything good. So yeah, if my YouTube video does well one day, my friends will say, oh my God, James, you're so famous. But literally, if my friend takes a good Instagram photo, oh my God, you're so famous. If our boneless buffalo wings at Chili's are extra delicious one day, oh my God, these wings are so, so famous. It has nothing to do at all with fame, power, or money, which is what Tati alluded it to being. And it is so frustrating that she turned an innocent and funny inside joke that she has participated in into something so beyond disgusting.
Again, at this point in the video, it doesn't seem like he's trying to resolve it. He's just trying to like defend. Because by him saying what he just said could really upset Tati and cause her to make another video, you know? And it just kind of feels like there's a certain way that he could have handled this video a much more better, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm going to try my best to make a long story very short. The next day, Sam slid into my DMs first, and I happened to see it. We started talking back and forth, and he mentioned that he was flattered by me flirting with him the night beforehand.
Sorry about last night, you're very attractive. And then I responded with, it's all good, very flattering actually.
A few minutes into the conversation, I asked him about his sexuality, and he told me straight up that he was bisexual. There's no straight men being manipulated anywhere in the story like Tati mentioned. Later on in the conversation, he asked when I was leaving Seattle, and I told him the next morning, to which he responded, I wish we had time to hang out, and I said, hey, why don't you come over to my hotel tonight? We can watch a movie together. He said, sounds good. Later on, he messaged me first and told me, hey, straight up, I've never done anything with a guy before. I'm a little bit nervous. To which I told him there was absolutely no pressure. This is all shown in the screenshots. Sam showed up at the hotel. We watched the movie together and we cuddled. After the movie, I asked him if he wanted to kiss, to which he said yes.
I get to the hotel room, we say hi, it's all fine. We end up watching a movie, and after that movie he asked to kiss me. I said yes, and we ended up making out for around an hour, and if I'm being honest, he's the worst kisser I've ever kissed. Way too much tongue.
All right, note taken. After making out with Sam for over an hour, I did invite him to sleep over at the hotel.
And he kept telling me to stay, like, please stay, don't leave me, all this and that, but I really wanted to go home, so I left. Of
course, I wanted to spend more time with him, but he said that he wanted to go home and be in his own bed and think about everything that was going on because it was quite a lot, and I definitely understood and did not blame him. He then left and sent me a message afterwards thanking me for being so understanding, and I told him that I would always be there for him if he needed literally anything. Point being, everything that happened in the hotel room was 100% consensual, and this is confirmed.
I said yes.
By the only two parties that were actually there being myself and Sam. After this night, Sam and I continued to talk for the next several weeks. At first, it was really, really great, but I noticed that his feelings towards me and sexuality were kind of wavering quite a lot, and I came to the conclusion that he needed to figure himself out and that I needed to move on because I kept getting hurt. Last important note to keep in mind about the timeline of the whole situation. On May 2nd, Sam texted me from his friend's phone saying that he was fully gay and needed to talk to me about something important. I called him, and instead of talking about that, he asked me if I was talking to another guy at the same time that I was talking to him. I was a little bit confused as to why I was being asked this, but I did answer him honestly, and then I asked him what made him come to a conclusion with everything. To which he said, I'm actually not fully gay. After dealing with this a million times, I was frustrated, and I hung up. Just to clarify, so there are no further questions, the point of including this screenshot is not to out Sam. Sam texted me saying he was fully gay, but it was a trap to get me on FaceTime so he could illegally record the conversation to include in the video that he was planning later on. Like I said, at the end of the conversation, I asked Sam how he came to this conclusion, and then he told me he was not fully gay, to which I hung up out of frustration. Later on, he texted me saying he was confirmed bi. This is why, in Sam's video, he included a screenshot of me telling him I did not think he was fully straight. This comment had a lot of people really upset and confused as to why I was telling somebody their sexuality, but there's a very simple explanation. Sam and I talked for a very, very long time, and his sexuality, like I said, wavered a lot. Every time that he was a little bit confused, we had open and honest conversations about it, and he always asked me my input, and I gave it to him. I would never out somebody, and I have never, ever tried to manipulate somebody's sexuality, including his, point blank period. The whole situation that happened with Sam was very, very long and complicated and left both of us very hurt and confused. And through trying to deal with this, I reached out to many of my different friends for advice. There was one night in my kitchen where Tati, James, and Gabriel all came over, and I told them the same exact story and showed them the same exact screenshots that all of you guys just saw. After hearing this, like Tati said in her video, Tati and James actually did have a heart-to-heart conversation with me about the boys that I get involved with. They told me that talking to curious guys was going to continue to get me hurt, and that also it could look really, really bad from an outside perspective if somebody tried to manipulate the situation. And for me, this was a major, major wake-up call that I took to heart because I honestly had never thought about it in any other way because I knew that everything that I was doing was always consensual between both me and the boy, and I had receipts to back it up. But I wish I knew at the time that Tati's advice was really a warning because she did exactly what she told me someone else may, which was tell my story with no details, no facts, and no proof, and twist it around, and now serious allegations have surfaced that could permanently damage my career. Now, like I said, the talk that happened in my kitchen, I really did appreciate because it was the first time I kind of took a step back and was able to analyze what was going on. And this week has been a major eye-opener for me as well. I have slid in the DMs with a simple hello or a nice compliment. If anybody ever made it clear that they were not interested or were not gay and didn't want to talk, I always apologized for the unwanted attention, and the conversation was put to a halt immediately. I do take full responsibility for sending these messages, and this situation has definitely taught me that sending messages that are so forward and direct like this are unacceptable, and I no longer will do that moving forward. A few different guys that I've talked to in the past have since came forward with their stories or posted screenshots of conversations that I had with them saying that I made them feel uncomfortable.
Which I feel is kind of shady because they didn't feel that way then, and all of a sudden now they want to come forward about James and expose how they feel uncomfortable now, but back then they weren't making videos, so it kind of felt like there was like this whole wave of people who were just jumping on the bandwagon of James Charles, my experience with James Charles, just to get views or get attention when it really wasn't a thing until now.
And reading some of them, I honestly felt really, really bad. I reached out to all the boys directly and apologized to them for my actions. But aside from those few guys, people are treating hashtag James Charles' over party as an open invitation to add to the narrative with lies, which is not only harmful to me, but it's also creating very, very dangerous stereotypes around the LGBTQ+ community. I truly cannot believe that I'm about to bring up what I'm going to bring up, but I feel the same exact way. On Monday, May 6th, Jeffrey posted this tweet to his Twitter, which I instantly started getting tagged in. After this tweet and a few other ones from him and his friends, I decided to reach out to him and ask if there was something going on that I should be aware of. He replied to me and he said that it was not about me and that it was about another brand stealing his ideas. This message was in a voice memo, which has since disappeared from the screenshot. You'll just have to believe me. I have literally no reason to lie at this point. Even though he said it wasn't about me, I still asked to talk to him, but he said he was unavailable. A few hours later, while I was getting ready for the Met Gala, I got this text from Jeffrey. Concerned but mostly really confused, I reached out to him about meeting together in private in hopes to speak together and figure out the misunderstanding, but he didn't reply. 3 days later, still no response. I decided to reach out again, but he was not available to talk. I flew to Australia on May 8th, and on May 10th, hours before my scheduled meet and greet appearance where 5,000 fans were already waiting outside, I was woken up at 4 in the morning by my friend because Tati had just uploaded her video titled Bye Sister. Watching Tati's video, it was very clear to me that my friend was still very hurt, and even though I had already apologized both privately and publicly, I wanted to make a video right then and there with my raw and honest emotions. But because of the time difference, it took me an extra few hours to film the video and get it up, and by the time I was about to hit publish, I received yet another text from Jeffree Star. I've already cleared up Sam and our night together being 100% consensual. He was absolutely not trapped in a hotel room, but Jeffree also brings up Zach. Zach is his boyfriend Nate's brother, and not only did I not pursue Zach, who identifies as mainly straight, but it was actually Jeffree who suggested that I talk to him in the first place.
Hey, Nate's brother is single and mainly straight, right up your alley.
Sounds good.
And he...
Sounds great for me.
And he just moved here, work.
Zach and I talked on Snapchat for maybe a total of 10 selfies back and forth to each other. He was super sweet, but it was very clear to me that he was not actually interested, and the conversation stopped before anything could even get remotely flirty at all. With everything going on, I did not reply to Jeffree's text in the moment. A few days later, on Monday, I woke up again in the middle of the night from a phone call from my little brother Ian, who was very upset. He told me he had tweeted saying, "Why do people act so tough online about somebody from his hometown who was bullying him?" And Jeffree Star, of all people, had quote tweeted Ian's tweet saying, "Why is your brother a predator? Why'd you really move back to New York City? Exactly, shut the fuck up." Many people were quick to call out Jeffree for bullying a kid who had nothing to do with the situation literally at all, and he deleted the tweet. After this, I went to check my phone and noticed that Jeffree had texted me a few minutes prior, and I opened my phone to this. I really want to read this text out loud just so you all get to hear exactly what I had to read, but also so I don't miss anything. "Grayson is going on camera shortly to finally tell the world how you tried to molest him and touch him in his sleep and made him uncomfortable for months, you sick motherfucker. Next, Zach will be going on camera to tell how twisted and sick you were, trying to get him to like you and then make him feel bad when he didn't want to send you photos back. Then Sam from Seattle will be joining me and Cameron to talk about you trapping him in his hotel room. You need to be locked in prison for a very long time. You need the internet taken away from you. You are a danger to society."
Now, I kind of feel like in this situation, James was really trying to make a point. But if you remember yesterday, Jeffree Star said that he was heated in the moment and he got hot-headed. And so he apologized yesterday. And basically, I get maybe he knew James was going to drop a video. And so I think that a lot of the text messages that Jeffree was sending James during this period, the last couple of days, Jeffree was like seriously upset and hot-headed. And we know when you get hot-headed and you get upset, you tend to say things you don't really mean. You get really upset. So I think that's what Jeffree was sending him in that moment. And if you watch yesterday's video, Jeffree basically talked about how he blew up about it and apologized to James and tried to rectify the situation, if that makes sense.
As disgusting as it is, I have to admit, bringing up Grayson Dolan was pretty clever. At the height of all these allegations and stories going around, both of the twins unfollowed me, not wanting to be associated, and fans started speculating that the rumors could be as to why. Too bad that aside from our pre-planned collaborative jokes that happened in the Sister Squad videos, me and Grayson flirting, nothing ever happened between us. And when all this went down, I knew Jeffree was lying because the twins were two of the first people to call me and make sure that I was okay. I already mentioned Zach, and I still have no idea who the Cameron Jeffree is referring to in this message is, but he also brought up Sam last, who we also already talked about. Later on that day, though, Jeffree was right. Sam did upload a video to his YouTube channel telling the whole story. He left out almost all the details and included an illegally recorded FaceTime call, which was on May 2nd. Told you to remember that. But even through all of this, he still managed to get the point across that our interactions were 100% consensual. Next was Jeffree's tweet to my little brother Ian. Now, I did say that this video was going to be solely based on facts, and I of course can't prove what Jeffree was trying to imply here, and I don't want to put words into his mouth. But since it's now open for speculation, might as well clear the air. Ian actually went home for a few different reasons, but it's temporary. He had to get his wisdom teeth taken out, and he's also working on different modeling opportunities in New York City, and I am so incredibly proud of him. But he was also having a really, really hard time in LA. Dealing with a public breakup and negativity online sent him into diagnosed clinical depression, which he is now being treated for, and he wanted to be with my parents. Nothing more. Last but finally not least, Jeffree posted this tweet claiming he hadn't seen me since February and that Nate banned me from their home. Now, this so-called ban is the first time I'm ever hearing of this, and I just think it's really funny that Jeffree brought this up, considering the fact that he's tweeted me twice in between February and now saying that he missed me. Regardless, he ended that tweet by saying I was a danger to society and everything in Tati's video was 100% true. Adding insult to injury, not only did Jeffree text me, but he also went out of his way to text my best friend, Drew, this lovely message trying to turn him against me. Jeffree's messaging about me both in private and in public was hurtful, defamatory, extremely excessive, but most importantly, literally all based on lies. I wish I knew why he was doing all this, but at the same time, his track record with public feuds makes none of this a surprise. Tati made a video telling stories about me and publicly humiliating me, and now I have serious allegations against me that could be detrimental to my career. Hello, Future James here popping in again. I've been completely honest with my whole timeline thus far, and I obviously want to keep doing so I feel like it is only fair to mention that only within the past few days, pretty much everyone involved with this situation has started to reach out to me in some way, shape, or form. Sam Cook, the boy from Seattle, has called me 9 times and sent me a few different text messages about the situation, trying to make things right. Tati and her husband James have tried to reach out in order to schedule a meeting, but only through a mutual YouTube rep that we share. And I've also heard from that same person that Jeffree was open to a meeting as well. This whole thing has just been really difficult for me because throughout the past 3 weeks, literally all I've wanted and all I've asked for was for communication from these people, and I tried really, really hard to get that, and I didn't. So I declined the meetings because I felt like this was started publicly and it was addressed publicly, and I felt like it was only fair for me to address this publicly as well before meeting behind the scenes and talking further. That sucks to say because I still have love for these people, and I hope that one day we all can sit down together in a meeting for closure and also to discuss how in the future, if problems do come up, we can talk in private with only us involved. But right now I just need time and space to kind of get my head back to where it needs to be and get my mental health back together before I kind of rekindle those friendships, because everything that happened still really, really hurt.
This part of the video is very interesting. James without makeup, just talking. He seemed more open. He seemed more relatable in this part, and I really do like the fact that he said that, you know, he wants it. Well, I don't know if he said it, but I just got the vibe that he was in a different place in this snap than he was earlier with all done up makeup. With the makeup on, he just seemed more aggressive, and without the makeup, he just seemed more calm and more open, and you can tell that he wants to eventually talk to Jeffree and Tati and talk things out in private. When he was in makeup, it just seemed like he was just like so upset about it. So this video was very much a roller coaster in the sense that in some cases he seemed very straightforward and angry, almost frustrated, and then in some cases he seemed very open and wanting to communicate and work it out.
And I like wouldn't wish what I went through upon even my worst enemy, no matter how angry I was. I've always tried to use my platform to spread positivity, but I feel like at this point it's my responsibility to be honest with you guys and tell you that the last few weeks of my life has literally been the most painful time that I've ever had to deal with, and my head and brain for a hot minute went to a place so dark that I didn't think that I was going to come back from. And I can't believe I just admitted that on camera. People always say that being a social media influencer is an easy job. And this is something that I've talked about time and time and time again on YouTube. We get it. But I don't think any human being ever is prepared mentally or physically to deal with the pain and anxiety of what it feels like to have millions and millions of people attacking you at one time. Having to read the hundreds of thousands of tweets and the YouTube videos and the articles about me and my character and my family based on things that were almost all lies, like, it messed me up. It messed me up is the best way that I can put it. And through all of this, I've learned that if I can get through this, I can get through anything. Joining in on bandwagon hate and cancel culture is incredibly, incredibly toxic, and it's very concerning to me that as a society, we're becoming okay with guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around. I truly hope that everyone who participated in this, whether it be fans, influencers, drama channels, or credible news sources, take the time to think about your words and the impacts that they may have on others, because I assure you, and I promise you, it's a lot stronger than what you may think. Right now, I have a lot of positive changes that I want to work on in my life. First and foremost, I really want to focus more on spending time in person with the people that I love and care about the absolute most, and I also have a lot of work to do in terms of getting my mental health back to where it needs to be. What's now, you guys ask? My parents and little brother just got to LA this morning, and we all got to hug and be together as a family for the first time in a while, and all my closest friends that are not on my payroll, may I add, are all here too. We're celebrating my birthday next week. I'm turning 20. Gross. Many of you guys noticed that the Sisters Apparel website was down. I was so excited about a lot of the things that we had coming very, very soon, and just the line in general. I am so grateful for all of your guys' love and support on it. It was really, really fun to work on. I also love the team that I worked on it with, but unfortunately I had to sever ties with Killer Merch. I just don't see a world that exists where I could ever be in business with a team ran by someone like Jeffree Star.
I'm kind of confused about that part right there. I don't understand it, because without makeup, he seemed open, and then now when he has the makeup on, he seems very defensive and angry. So I think maybe that's something that he would take back later. I don't know where else he would go to sell his merch through, but I just found that kind of interesting.
If you placed an order on the website before it went down, everything will still be fulfilled. Don't worry, you'll get your items. And if you had a gift card beforehand, make sure you hold on to it, because the balance will be valid whenever we reopen, because we are coming back, I promise. In regards to the Sisters Tour, which I've gotten quite a lot of questions about, despite the ticket scandal, we are almost completely sold out nationwide, and that is mind-blowing to me, and I'm so grateful. I know there's been a lot of emails and speculation. As of right now, I unfortunately do not have a full answer on what is happening with the tour, but I will have an update for you guys by the end of this week, I promise. Going on tour has been a dream of mine for so long now, and I really want this to happen. I just feel like meeting you guys, and hugging you, and just getting to thank you face to face for what you've done for me is exactly what I need in my heart right now, but at the same time, tour's a lot. And it's a big, big commitment, and I want to make sure that I know what I'm getting into, and that when I walk on stage every night, it's with a genuine smile, and you guys can feel that, and you're able to smile as well. So I'll keep you posted. As for my YouTube channel, I decided that I'm going to be taking some much needed time away from content production. On my last few videos, I've definitely noticed quite a lot of comments talking about my ego or my attitude getting the best of me and getting to my head, and I appreciate the constructive criticism and feedback, and after a lot of reflection, I think you're right. I've lost focus, and that sucks so much, but I want to get back to it so badly, and I want to get back to my original goal when I have no motivation other than just creating original content, and that'll happen for sure, and I already have some great ideas in the works, but it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Alright, so my review of the video is basically over. Here's my final thoughts. I kind of feel like the video was good, and in the sense that it was also bad. I think that it was shot like in two parts. If you notice, one with makeup, one without makeup, and I pretty much would have liked the video to be shot with just him without makeup and just talking honestly, because I feel like with the makeup on, he may have said things or came across a certain way that maybe he didn't want to. But you know, it is difficult to to shoot these types of videos. So I know this video is extremely long, longer than my usual videos, but one of my biggest criticisms is like I don't have 100% the facts and I always get the T wrong. So I just thought, you know what, just play the entire video. The parts that I can play, because some parts are like copyrighted and stuff like that. But yeah, man, let me know what you think about it. I kind of feel like James is making steps to moving toward a better person. Certain parts of the video, I think that he was being mean after people had already apologized for doing stuff like that. But it's open to your comments down below. Let me know what you think about it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.